Behind Dutch headlines, the who, why, and how of politics and media in the lowlands.
Hey, it's me, Greg Shapiro, the American Netherlander, telling you what you need to know to join the Dutch conversation. This week, bad vibes from Brussels. They don't like our budget, they don't like Dijsselbloem, and you don't want to know what they think about Dutch trains. France has its first gay marriage. The Netherlands says, "You're welcome." And this week, the choice of Holland, Zuid, Zeeland, one of them has to go. Our first headline, Prime Minister Mark Rutte says no to Brussels' demands for further budget cuts. What's behind the headline? Isn't Mark Rutte Mr. Yes, sure we can? Well, imagine what it's like being Mark Rutte right now. When getting things done in the Netherlands, he used the polder model. Dutch government got big business and labor unions to sit at the same table. Rutte even chipped in. He said, "I'll put off another round of budget cuts," and everybody was happy. All smiles, just like Rutte likes it. They drank coffee, they had an agreement. Remember, we reported on this. And just when Rutte thought that he was out of budget trouble, here comes Brussels, and they pull him back in. Now, the EU Budget Commissioner is Olli Rehn of Germany. Like Angela Merkel, he's all about respect my austerity. And last week he gave the Dutch a tick on the fingers, reminding us that we really have to cut that 6 billion euros from next year's budget. Mark Rutte responded, Olli, topper, thanks for your recommendation, and I'll get back to you on that, later. What happens when an angry Olli Rehn starts knocking on Rutte's door demanding to enforce the rules? How will Rutte defend himself against foreign intrusion? Well, traditionally, the Dutch have broken open the dikes and surrounded themselves with water so no one could get in. These days, they're doing the same kind of thing, only they're calling it faulty Vira rail service. I don't know how Olli Rehn is going to get to Den Haag, but it won't be with Vira rails. Bad news on the budget, bad news on Dutch trains, and bad news for Dutch Eurogroup chairman Jeroen Dijsselbloem, who was dissed by Angela Merkel last week when she said maybe the Eurogroup needs a permanent chairman, not Dijsselbloem. But still, the Dutch are smiling. Why? It was on the cover of every newspaper last week. 2 French guys French kissing in France, thanks to the Dutch. As the rest of the world comes around to gay rights, France's first gay marriage, a lesbian-themed Tunisian film, La Vie d'Adèle, winning at Cannes, and more U.S. athletes coming out of the closet, let's take a quick look back at the first country to legalize gay marriage, the Netherlands. Ever since 2001 and the first ever legal gay marriage in the world, or homohuwelijk, the Netherlands considers themselves the gay capital. But is that still the case? Well, recently, the largest ever EU study on gay rights reports that the Netherlands is in the top 3, what do you know, most tolerant countries in Europe. And last week, the annual OECD Better Life Index reported that the Netherlands is the 8th happiest country in the world. So, to review, gayness 3rd place, happiness 8th place. Technically, it's better to be gay than it is to be happy. And now it's time for our recurring segment, The Choice of Holland. This proud nation started out with just 7 provinces, worked their way up to 11, and squeezed out number 12. But now they have to cut back with only a handful of provinces, just 5. And they have to hurry up because the new king and queen are on a tour of all 12 of their provinces. What's up with that? More next week. Previously on The Choice of Holland, our celebrity jury decided that Friesland can remain Friesland. Limburg will have to join with Brabant and become Carnival Land. This week, Zuid versus Zeeland. Someone's got to go. Zeeland, Luctor et Emergo. They're best known for surviving the floods of 1953 and building the Delta Works to make sure those floods would never happen again. If you haven't seen them, you should go. It was an enormous and expensive undertaking. That's $7 billion that Mark Rutte would like to have back. But the Delta Works are the 7th modern wonder of the world. And the most famous woman from Zeeland would be this fictional woman, the Zeeuwsmeisje who sells butter, and the famous son of Zeeland, Jan-Peter Balkenende, prime minister during the Bush era, who is best known for looking like Harry Potter. Next up, Zuid-Holland, the Jay-Z of the Dutch provinces. They have it all. The brains with the University of Leiden. The balls with the hardest working city in the Netherlands, Rotterdam. The bling with the Royal Palace. The heart in Delft, where the founder of the country, Willem van Oranje, is buried. And don't forget the bickering, because Parliament is in Den Haag. The only thing they don't have is space. Let's see if we can fix that. Let's go to the jury. First up, the man responsible for downsizing the Dutch provinces, Interior Affairs Minister Ronald Plasterk, who's known as a bit of a softie. Plasterk's answer would probably be, well, Zeeland, Zuid-Holland, if you would want to merge, then that would be really good, but only if you want to. Donald Trump, Zeeland, you spent $7 billion on the Delta Works, you didn't even build a Trump palace, you're fired! Should Zeeland merge with Zuid-Holland? Well, Zeeland, you've got the Delta Works, that's nice. But don't forget, Zuid-Holland is like Jay-Z, they've got it all. Put it this way, Zuid-Holland got 99 problems, and Zeeland, you're now one of them. That's it for this week. I'm Greg Shapiro, the American Netherlander, saying don't forget, you can listen to the podcast on Facebook, and until next week, thank you very Dutch.
Behind Dutch Headlines.